If it's feeling heavy and I'm still doing it and I don't have the energy to do it, but I'm still doing it, ladies, that is grind. If a task feels heavy, set it down. That's an indication that you have been in too much masculine for too long and you're imbalanced. Hey there, prosperity seeker, and welcome to the Prosperity Approach. I'm your host, Allyson Chavez. I am so happy you've joined me. We've got a really fun topic today, but before we dive into that, if you're listening to the audio version of this episode, be sure that you're following this podcast on your favorite app. If you're watching this on YouTube right now, then be sure that you click that red subscribe button below and click the notification bell so that you get notified every time a new podcast is released. Not too long ago, I went to a business mastermind with, of course, my business mentor and my colleagues, and it was an amazing 2 days in West Palm Beach, Florida that we spent together. Mind-blowing things, really cool strategy. She made a comment, though, that got me thinking, and she was talking about like different seasons as a business owner. And she said, there will be seasons of grind. And I was taken aback by that, quite honestly. And I started thinking, wait a second, why? There's seasons of grind? Really? And she just talked about it like matter of fact. And I think that if you've spent time in business, whether you've got your own business or whether you've spent time in the corporate world or not, you can see where people will be like, oh yeah, definitely. There's times when we have to just grind it out. We just have to pound it out. And I experienced that as well, because that's the belief that I ran when I first got into business, is that you have to grind your way to the top and you have to claw your way to the top. And it's filled with immense struggle and so much toil, and it's really, really hard work. And yeah, you can get to success, that next level of success, by struggling your way to it. But I don't recommend it. It's not an efficient way to get to success. It certainly isn't fun, pleasurable, or delightful. And it really doesn't serve your soul, quite honestly, to have to grind your way to success. So I didn't like raise a ruckus or anything. And I wasn't like, hey, you're wrong. But I thought that doesn't work for me. Being in seasons of grind ever for anything doesn't work for me. And I'm not going to buy into that, not even for a second. Because not only is grinding not necessary, it's actually not good for you. There's only one place where grinding is good. And this isn't that kind of a podcast, so we're not going to go there. But in any other case where I have thought about grinding, it's not good for you. It wears you down. Is it ever good if you're driving a stick shift to grind the gears? No, you get into problems really quickly if you're grinding the gears. Have you ever been grinding your teeth? Is that good for your teeth? It wears you down. Have you ever had bone on bone with anything? With your knee? That seems to be the most popular places where there's bone on bone and you're grinding. It's enormously painful, and it requires surgery and rehab and recovery, for crying out loud. Like, there is no place where grinding, especially over a period of time in a season even, is good for you, or that leads to the results that you actually want. And I love to look at nature as an example, because I was like, I really think I'm onto something with this whole, it's actually, there is no season of grind. Where in the universe do things grind and it works well? I can't think of a single instance in the universe. Let's look at nature. Okay, so if there's a season of grind, where is the season of grind in nature that teaches us how to actually create? We have the season of spring, which is a season of rebirth and growth. And we've got the season of summer, and that's like hyper growth in summer. Then we have the season of fall or autumn, and that's the season of harvest. And then we have a season of winter, which is a season of rest. Nowhere in there ever is there a period of grind. Is there a period of excessive toil? Now, that doesn't mean that there isn't work, especially when we're in the season of harvest and when we're in a season of growth. For sure, there is effort and there's work involved, but There never needs to be any grind, ever, ever. In fact, if something is grinding, it's a very clear indication that something's not aligned. That means something is off. I remember when I was younger, I learned how to drive a stick shift, and they're so much fun to drive. Sadly, none of my kids know how to drive a stick shift. We're kind of like out of that era of cars. But I remember grinding, and my dad would be with me, or whoever knew how to drive a stick would be with me, and they were like, oh, that's not good. And my stepsister, who's a little bit younger than I am, would say, well, if you can't find it, grind it, right? And they're like, no, don't grind it. Don't grind the gears. Like something is off. It is, when there's grind, we got a problem. Something's not aligned, and that's not meant to be part of the whole apparatus. Grind isn't a part of it. There's a big problem if things are grinding. So I thought, all right, how does that apply in our life? Like, how do we not grind, right? Because I'm not about the theory of prosperity. I'm about boots on the ground strategies, like the application of prosperity, and how can I be prosperous in every area of my life, physical and mental and emotional and spiritual and financial and relational, like everything. We're always wanting to get to that next level of success in every area of our life. And we don't have to grind our way to any level of success, regardless of how high it is relative to where you are right now. But how do we not grind? Well, first, you've got to recognize when you are. There are very clear indications when we're grinding a car, like car gears. There's clear indications if we're grinding our teeth. We can feel it. Our jaw starts to ache. We can hear the grinding. So there's really, really clear indications. But when we're trying to get to that next level of success without struggling our way to it, what are some clear indications that we're in grind and it's not working for us? Because grind will never work for you. It doesn't work for you. So if you are in this idea of forcing, like you are going to bend to my will, whether it's some sort of a funnel or a system you're trying to put in place, or an employee that you're working with, or a child or a spouse, if there's any kind of forcing that's involved and you're trying to push things out of the way, you're in some grind. All right. When you can feel yourself grit your teeth, all right, you're in grind right there. If you are like, I have to make this work, like this must work, you're in the energy of grind. If you're in frustration and you're still just like trying to plow through, listen to the words that you're telling yourself. If you're like, just gird up your loins and get through this. Just bear down and get through this. Now, there are times when we must bear down. Anybody who's birthed a child naturally knows that there's a lot of bearing down. So there's appropriate times to push. But we're taught that we're always in push. We're always in chase. And we're in frustration. And this has to work. We have to make this happen. And any kind of forcing at all doesn't work because that's not the way things are supposed to click together. Like there's a click that happens, there's a slip that happens where it's just like whoop, and it's just in place. And when we are trying to grind something to make it work, and when we're in frustration, when we're in, all right, just plow through this and get this done, we're in grind. And that's not going to get you the results that you're hoping for. And it certainly isn't giving you the experience that you desire as you're on the way to the outcome that you desire. Be aware of that. And I am really, really big about massive awareness and zero judgment. So we just need to find a baseline with everything. I'm looking at baselines on myself every single day in a variety of things. It's like taking your temperature. I'm taking my temperature. I'm just getting a baseline here to see where I'm at. How big's the gap that I need to fill? Like, what do I need to close here with this gap? We're just getting a baseline. Am I in grind? Am I in frustration? Am I like, is it feeling heavy? If it's feeling heavy and I'm still doing it and I don't have the energy to do it, but I'm still doing it, ladies, that is grind. If a task feels heavy, set it down. That's an indication that you have been in too much masculine for too long and you're imbalanced. And so we need to get you back into feminine. So you've got to set it down and walk away. And this doesn't mean that you walk away for 3 weeks. This doesn't even mean that you walk away for 3 hours or even 30 minutes. I've literally walked away from something for 3 minutes before, gotten my bearings, gone out to my back patio, laid down on my patio furniture and just breathed for a minute and connected back to my body. And what that means, connecting back to your body, is I start tuning into my physical senses. How does this cushion feel underneath my back? What can I hear? Am I smelling anything? Do I feel the breeze? Do I feel wind? Do I feel cold? What are the sensations that I'm feeling right now? And like, that's where I go for 3 or 4 minutes. And I'm just there breathing. How does the breath feel? But I've left my office. I've left whatever environment I'm in that I'm experiencing that grind. And that's really, really important to do. Go get your bearings. Go get into different energy. It's a reset. Now, sometimes you do have to walk away from something and you got to leave it for a day or two. Nothing wrong with that. When you realize that you're feeling grind, you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling like you're forcing, you're pushing, you're chasing, you're getting desperate, you're getting irritated. All right. All of those things, we're really familiar with how those emotions feel in our body. That's different ways that grind shows up. So set it down, walk away, reset. And then when it feels light, like, okay, I think I can handle this. Sometimes we'll say, I think I can tackle this. I'm looking at my vocabulary, what comes out of my mouth, and I'm really consciously right now looking to be more feminine in it rather than masculine. So masculine is going to like tackle this thing, right? But how about like, let's just get another go at this. Let's just take another look and see what we can do. Let's look at this with fresh eyes. But I mean, if you want to tackle something, that's totally fine too. There's fierceness to the feminine as well. And sometimes you need to be in that tackle energy, and there's nothing wrong with it, except when we're in it all the time as women, and we're divine creators and we're not meant to be in tackle mode all the time or grinding ever. So go to what's light. All right. Does it feel light? Like, can I take a look at this? Let's just, it doesn't feel quite as daunting as it was before. So let's take a look at that and let's just see. Let's just see. In fact, this happened just a couple of days ago. Learned this really, really cool strategy that I wanted to teach my team. And I did a 3-hour-long workshop, and they're throwing around words like metrics, and they didn't go as far as like KPI, which are key performance indicators, but they're like metrics. I just don't even resonate with the word metrics. How about info? Like, it took me years to understand like data is not a word that I need to be repelled by. Data is really, really important to be able to successfully scale your business or any area of your life. If you're wanting to get healthy, that data is really important. It's just information. And I had a coach a while ago who was like, oh, and look at all of this data, the beautiful, beautiful data. And I was like, you know what? I need to adopt that rather than being like, oh my gosh, CPL and CRMs and like all of that, and like, oh, conversion rates and all of that can just get so heavy so fast because I'm not naturally a numbers gal. I'm a people gal. I want to connect with people, but the numbers are important too. And so when I started looking at it as this is really beautiful because this lets us know where we're at. This lets us know where we're at. This lets us close any gaps. It helps us to find the gaps, first of all. So this is really, really good. It is really beautiful. And so they were talking about that, and they're talking about like how to scale your business and how to grow your team and all the different positions to fill and like the payment structures and metrics and their performance. And it was just getting heavy. And I actually, my coach was like just touching base with everybody. She's like, all right, how's everybody doing? Everybody check in. Let me know how you're doing. And I typed in the chat, I'm feeling ugh. I'm not going to lie. Like, this is feeling heavy. And she was like, oh, well, what's feeling heavy about this? And I'm like, just all the numbers and like all of this. And she said, don't overthink this. All right, don't overthink this. Like, this is actually really simple and this is really great. But it was really heavy to me at the time. So I realized, dang, I'm in grind. Because I'm looking at this and I'm letting this overwhelm me. And she's right. I'm overthinking this too much. I need to leave it. So I left it for the day, came back the next day because I was like, I got to train my team on this. This is really important. It was all about like how to 4 times everybody's income. So like, it was really cool. It was really cool information. I looked at it the next day. I looked at the notes that I had taken and everything clicked. I didn't have to force anything into place. I didn't have to like look at it to try to get it to sink into my brain. Everything just clicked. And I was like, she's totally right. I was absolutely overthinking all of this and making it so much harder and so much more complicated than it actually is. I was letting words like metrics take me out of the game and put me into that grinding energy and that pushing and that forcing energy. But all I needed to do was just reset. And I just needed to leave it and then just kind of just think on it and not think on it, but just like, there's a lot of advantages to this. And it's just information. And this is just one thing that we could do to make everybody more successful and to make the business run more smoothly. And so when I started putting my words to it and taking out the really heavy masculine numbers driven structure kind of words to it, I was like, I see where we can even flow even better with this. This is really exciting. And I saw that and I was like, there we go. Here it is. But again, it was really simple. It was just an overnight reset for me. And then it felt light. Like, yeah, okay, can we take this on? Yeah, let's take a look at it. See what it looks like. What does this mean? What are some of the ways that we can reach this goal? Oh, there it is. And then it's just a plug and play. And then the plug and play was really, really easy and really, really fun. And I presented it to my team a couple of days later, and it was very well received. Everyone was really excited by it, really exhilarated by it. It's stretchy, it's ambitious, but it's doable because we had this plan in place. And we had the metrics, and this is what it takes for you to get to your goal. So here's the number that's going to support that. So it was just this beautiful blending of the feminine and the masculine and letting me lead out by feminine with the vision and getting everybody to their goal. But I had to get out of grind in order for that to happen. So it is critical if you want success without struggle, to be completely unavailable for the grind. And what I mean by being unavailable for something, it's just like, you're not open to it. Like, no, thank you. I don't want to grind. I'm going to choose something else. Like if you want to be in a season of grind, then go ahead and be in a season of grind. I'm not going to make anybody wrong for grinding anything. I just know how I feel when I'm in grind and what I've experienced in grind, not only through the experience of grind, but then the results at the end. Even when I would reach success, it didn't feel victorious to me. It didn't feel successful. All I felt was tired and worn out. And then my coach is like, good job, now double that. And I'm like, I got to grind twice as much. Oh, this is awful. It just didn't work for me. And isn't it so wonderful that there's another way that you can do it as you're letting the vision lead, as you're leading with feminine energy and you're in the flow and you're in the play and you're in the whole creation of everything. So if you're pushing and you're trying to push things out of the way and make it happen, that's an indication you're in grind. Now, I want to make this really, really clear. There are seasons when we have hyper growth, and there are seasons when we are in up leveling and we are skilling up, and it is intense. All right. And that's necessary. Like I fully understand, and I subscribe to the truth that the challenge is necessary on your hike to success, but the struggle is 100% optional. The struggle is not part of it. It doesn't have to be part of it, and the grind does not have to be part of it either. And in fact, grind is not going to get you where you want to go. It's not worth it. It's too high of a price to pay if you're in grind. But higher levels of success require hard work. That is a fact. You're going to have to skill up in the way that you communicate, in the way that if you have your own business, in the way that you lead, in the way that you hold your boundaries. You're going to have to learn technical skills as well, so you can understand every part of your business, at least on a surface level. And that requires some intensity. It requires seasons of hard work. It requires feeling uncomfortable with new knowledge and like, oh, that's not landing. And it will require study. It will require awkward periods. It will. And most of us, especially in today's society, completely shy away from hard work because we're like, I don't want to work hard. I just want to be the CEO. But you want me to start down here in this entry level position? But don't you know, I'm meant to be the CEO and that's what I deserve. Well, that's not how it works. That's not how it actually works. In fact, I was having a conversation with one of my closest, dearest friends, and we were talking about that next level and like where we were going and what was required for that. I'm like, honey, you need a team. And she's like, I know, I'm really clear on that. I definitely need a sales team. And she was like, oh, this next level, oh, it's hard work. Oh, and she said it just like that, like this great big sigh. Oh, this hard work. And she was tired. And we get tired as we are building our empires. And we're just like, more hard, more hard. And I said, what does hard mean? Like, let's define hard, because as you go higher and higher, it requires hard work. But what does hard mean? One meaning of hard is difficult, for sure. Nobody really loves to sign up for difficult work. I don't. Like, I'm up for the challenge. You bet you're going to stretch me. You're going to test me. You're going to help me to skill up. Yeah, totally. I'm all for that. But something that's going to be really difficult, that feels daunting and intimidating right then. But I looked up the meaning of hard, and another meaning of hard is diligent and persistent. And I was like, well, hot dang, I work hard every single day, but I don't do it in struggle and I don't do it in difficulty. Because when it starts getting heavy and I start getting frustrated, and you know when you're shutting down, you can feel it when you're like, things just aren't landing any longer. And now I've reached difficult. Now I've reached grind. No, I'm not going to work hard every single day if it's difficult, intimidating, daunting, exhausting work. Nope, not available for that. Diligent, persistent, I do that all day, every day. So I can stand with certainty and with a certain level of pride that I work hard every day, but I understand what the meaning of hard is. Diligent and persistent. It's not butting your head against a brick wall every single day in the name of hard work. It's not being in the grind because now suddenly you deserve that next level of success. It's not about deservingness. It's not even about doing your best. It's about doing what's required. And higher levels of success, when you want to make more money, when you want to have deeper, more intimate relationships, when you want to have the body and the health of your dreams, requires persistent, diligent work and consistent and sometimes tenacious. Especially when things don't work at the first. Like when I was learning this whole new idea of how to really expand my business and grow my team, like I'd never heard about it before. And so like it required me to study it. It required me to get tenacious with it and to be like, you're not bigger than me. This idea is not bigger than me. This challenge, this issue is not bigger than I am. It's here because I can handle it. So I'm going to step up and I'm going to adjust my crown. I had a mentor that used to say that you're not being very queenly. It's time to adjust your crown and move forward. And I'm like, okay, adjust my crown, reattach the royal robes and let's show this thing who's the queen and who owns this. It's me. And so we go through those periods where we need to remind ourselves of who we truly are. But you can get to that next level of success and higher and higher and higher levels through dazzle, through delight, through pleasure. In fact, one of the things that a former mentor used to say all the time, which I adopted as my own, is what's the easiest, fastest, most pleasurable way to go about this? What's the easiest, fastest, most pleasurable way for me to get that result? Oh, so powerful. So powerful. Follow that. Answer that. Like, there's the question. Your higher self, God, your angels, you'll get the nudges that will answer that specific question, the easiest, fastest, most pleasurable way to get that result, and then follow it. Follow that. When you're skilling up, you don't have to grind your way in skilling up. You can get life to meet you on your terms at every single level, and as you continue to go up every level, life will meet you on your terms. Your terms. You get to set the terms. And by the way, through this process, I've had heartbreak. Through this process, I've had difficult conversations with my children, with my spouse, with team members that we've kept on and team members that have exited my company. There have been tears that have been shed. So let me be really clear with you. I live on this planet as well. And I've had challenges, and I've had what felt like sucker punches at the time, but I've had, what is that in baseball? Curveballs. I've had curveballs thrown at me. I live here on this planet too. I've had contrast and opposition and things not work the way that we thought that they would work. And it's wonderful feedback. It helps me find my baseline and where do I get to improve. And I am so clear that I am open to walk through whatever God requires me to walk through, because I know on the other end of this is joy as deep as my pain is at the time, or as deep as my discomfort is. It's how this whole planet and our experiences are divinely designed. But you never have to go through a period of grind if you don't want to. There will be a period for sure all the time of expansion and stretch, and that can feel uncomfortable, and it will all the time. Initially, it will feel uncomfortable. That doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong, but when you are feeling the grind, something is off. Something is misaligned. Something's not working the way that it's meant to work. So stop, set it down, do a reset, and then look at it with fresh new eyes. Great conversation, yes? Ooh, if you like this conversation and you want to continue it, come join me in my Facebook group. It's called Success Without Struggle. We're in there. We're getting ready. We're in the middle of a challenge. We usually have online retreats and challenges and sprints and things going on fairly regularly. So come be part of the conversation. It's an amazing community. My team and I are in there regularly to answer your questions, to cheer you on, to hike your success and prosperity mountain with you. So come join us. Success Without Struggle on Facebook. And until then, remember, prosperity becomes you.